starting with a bit of skincare, using a really rich moisturiser, working it into the skin as a really lovely base for any foundation or concealer that we're going to use afterwards. Using a really rich, nourishing foundation today, very glowy, which I'd always recommend, so then it's less likely to get cakey and sort of sit in the pores. It'll sort of give you a nice, beautiful luminescence and glow. So we're just going to work, I normally work from the nose or the centre out, and no person's face is the same colour all over. So normally I put a few different colours on my hand as a palette and then work them in. So I think the trick really is less is more. As skin gets older and we mature, it's less is always more. It will sit much more beautifully on the skin. Just using it where we need it. So I really like, on myself, I really like using tinted moisturisers or CC creams, and I do use them at work as well. So you just give a really light veil of colour and then you can go in with a concealer where you need a little bit more coverage rather than trying to use a very heavy foundation all over the skin. So I feel like in an ideal world you need 2 concealers in your makeup bag, one for under the eyes that's quite creamy and will blend really nicely under the eyes, and then you can powder it to set it, and then one for any blemishes that you might have, which has a drier texture to it and won't move around as much. So I normally put the creamy texture concealer just around the nose, under the eyes, possibly a little bit on the chin or anywhere else you feel you need it. And then lovely Kelly doesn't have any blemishes, but if she did, I would use a slightly drier texture concealer and just work them in with a very small brush, just exactly where you need it. So this is a great powder brush. It's a bit domed, so you can get into the creases around your nose and under your eyes. This is a blusher brush, but I wouldn't say that's an absolute necessity. I quite like using them for cream blushes, but you can also, if you're doing it on yourself, fingers work really well as well to melt the colour into the skin. So I'm just going to powder a little bit Kelly's T-zone. So that's the forehead, just lightly pressing it into that very light foundation that we've done, over the nose, around the corners of the nose, so that domed, or you can get a pointed tip really helping to get in around the corners of the nose, on the chin, and if you look up from the lovely pen a little bit under the eyes as well. So that just takes the shine away and helps your foundation and concealer stay around a bit longer as well. But I don't put any powder on the cheeks, apples of the cheeks or the cheekbones, so that you keep that lovely luminous glow up there, which is really youthful. We're just going to go in now with a little bit of colour for eyebrows. Again, I would say with eyebrows, as we get older, less is more. You don't want a really severe brow, just a little bit of a lift for most people on the arch, which is the highest point of your eyebrow, and then just extending it down a little bit will help frame your eye. So yeah, just almost focusing just on the arch, the highest bit, just strengthening that, and down to the outer edge. Sometimes you can add a little bit here, but on Kelly we don't really need to, and then just brush it through.